Hey everyone, Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys a old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album's anniversary, which is today. And after a successful birthday after I turned 25 yesterday, today we're going to be looking into this album's 10-year anniversary. And this is personally from one of my all-time favorite bands from my home state. And as you can see, and I'm really stoked to see this album played live in its entirety in May. So yeah, today we're going to be looking into Crack the Skye by Mastodon. Yep, the band's fourth album, released on March 24th, 2009 through Relapse Reprise Records. It's now, Mastodon definitely doesn't need an introduction. Sludge progressive metal band hailing from Atlanta, Georgia. These guys have been rocking since 2000. And Mastodon remains still one of my favorite bands. I've seen them live 3 times. And honestly, in my opinion, I probably think this is Mastodon's best work to date. And if I had an album of the year of 2009, it would be this album. After their 3 good albums being their first 2 albums being Remission and Leviathan had more of a heavier edge to it, but it wasn't until they signed to a major label with Blood Mountain, and that was basically sort of like a little bit of a change of style. And I feel like they continue with this album right here, and this is, I believe, is the band's first concept album, with I believe their first 3 albums being sort of like dealing with like elements of like fire, water, and I believe wood. I can't really remember, but yeah. But this album, it talks about sort of like the aether, sort of like the elements, sort of like having like spiritual beings and all this other crazy trippy shit. The production on this album is really great, produced by the great Brendan O'Brien, and like Mastodon always has like great sounding albums production wise. The vocal work in general is pretty good, between like Troy Sanders, their bass player, Brent Hines, their guitar player, and this first album has vocal duties from Bron Daylor, the drummer. Or sharing the first album that I actually did vocals on, because the first 3, it was mainly just Troy and Brent. Bron sort of like adds his own flavor to it, and doing that while playing drums is just insane. And just I just like sort of like the melodies and like that they come up with is good. It still has a little bit of that harshness to it, but it's not as present as like their first couple albums. Guitar wise, of course, Brent Hines and Bill Kelleher has some really great riffs. So just like the soloing that Brent does is just really great. The bass is pretty just audible. You could definitely hear it between Troy. I remember Troy describing the bass as like a sandwich, like him sort of like in the center with like Brent and Bill sort of like together. And Bron Daylor, the man is a fucking monster at the drums. Like, he does like fills all over the fucking place. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, the album opens up with Oblivion, which is a great showcase for this album. Starts off kind of a little bit slow, then it sort of builds right up, and then it pretty much has a great showcase for the band's newfound singing aptitude, trading vocals between Troy, Brent, and Bron. And the track is a bit slower and almost has a little bit of a grunge influence to it than expected, but ultimately it succeeds in being a fantastic sample of sort of like the band's new sound. And the harsh vocals are not entirely gone, as they provide a chilling accompaniment with the title track's atmospheric riffs. And the raging beast, as contained within like the inside of their first couple albums, have been transformed into a lumbering Lovecraftian demon that's slower but more frightening and fiendishly malevolent. And that leads into the next track, being Divinations, which offers a combination of groove, melody, and symphony all in one place, which is most sludge metal bands is hard to come by. And the melodies are unforgettable, and the solos are just melded within the song so well it feels like falling through the vast corners of space. And also, one thing I love about this album is I feel like every song sort of like leads into it. And then we go into Quintessence, which the album sort of like slows down to like a bit of a melodic trip with some weird grunge chorus, which seems sudden at first and a bit queer, but as the song progresses and fuses, it becomes more of a trend of beauty that is so unique. You get captivated by the grooves and transitions that are so bizarre that compels to a great song. And then we go into the most progressive song on the album, one of the longer songs on here being The Tsar, Czar, which is actually divided into 4 parts, from being Upsir, Escape, Martyr, and Spiral. And the song, like itself, transitions from like a spacey intro that seems to be like a lullaby to a soft melody of guitars that plays into the main beat and the groove, which will forever stand as an iconic piece by this great band. And the song itself almost kind of reminds me as if like Pink Floyd went metal. The song has the lyrical context of symbolical and personal value, which goes along with the groove and the drums, and then phenomenal bass provide, and that's just the beginning. As the song progresses, it slowly picks up into a more harder version of the melody, and the aggression shines through it, that reaching the core of the universe, somewhat of like the Leviathan or trademark melodic groove. The rhythms come to life. It brings a powerful and velocity to the song. As it builds up, it seems like you're at the most intense portions of space until it drops down to a lower calm, until picking you up almost immediately and lowering you to an equilibrium of melody and soft grooves with an amazing solo, though that does nothing more than shine through to the album's main feature as it travels to another groove and back to the original melody. Ghost of Corinthia, which makes us sound just like what the title says, Ghost. The intro starts heavy, but the actual track quiets itself pretty quickly in the verse, but the latter of the song is filled with echoing riffs and an unfathomable bass to match the vocals. And then we go into the title track of Crack the Skye, which actually has a guest appearance from Scott Kelly of Neurosis, who pretty much does some live guest appearances on some Mastodon songs, mostly the first few albums. But the song itself starts off really slow, but then picks up, and it actually sounds for a little while something from the previous album, Blood Mountain. The vocals definitely mean something in this track. Some of the new clean trend that Brent is trying, and some are of Brent screaming and grinding with his throat. And the guitars take on the part of heavy riffs and quite steady rhythms. And then the album closes with a grandly with the song The Last Buried, which starts off instantly with a dark acoustic sound with the guitar. And this is the longest track on the album, clocking in at like 13 minutes on the dot. Brent's clean lyrics and amazing guitars, again regurgitated by the bass, and are expressed longer in essence than any other track on this album. Many different parts are the exchanging instrumentals take the song seriously all throughout this masterpiece until the scene ends with a soft and sweet silence. Now overall, Crack the Skye, in my opinion, I believe is Mastodon's opus. And honestly, like I said before in the beginning of this video, if I were to have the album of the year of 2009, this would be it. And if I were to give this album a score, I definitely would give this a solid 10 out of 10. It's that good. So that's my review of Crack the Skye by Mastodon, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, and I'll see you all on the next video. And also, I will also be at the show May 31st, where they're playing this album in its entirety, May 31st at the Roxy, so I'll see you there. And I will also be at Hypocrisy and Flesh God Apocalypse on Wednesday, so to anybody that is going, I will be there, and I also got VIP, so come say hi to me. So thank you guys for watching. See you all in the next video. Keep it metal.